The Seattle Seahawks could be heading into one of the most unexpected and controversial stretches in franchise history. And it all starts with two massive developments that nobody saw coming just a few days ago. One involves a shocking Week 1 rumor that has fans debating whether the NFL is preparing something huge for Seattle to open the 2026 season. The other could completely reshape the future of the organization for decades. And honestly, both stories together paint a picture that Seahawks fans cannot ignore right now. I'll tell you everything in detail, but before I continue, tell me, are you excited for this season? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to click the like button and stick with me. I'll keep you well informed. The first major story revolves around a surprising report connected to the NFL season opener. For a while, many people around the league believed the Seahawks were likely headed toward a Week 1 matchup against the Chicago Bears. It made sense from a ratings standpoint, from a storyline standpoint, and from the NFL's obsession with quarterback narratives. But suddenly, that conversation changed when Kirk Minihane began claiming that the Seahawks could instead open the season against the New England Patriots on September 9th. Now, this is where things get complicated, because Kirk Minihane is not exactly a standard NFL insider. He has real ties to the Boston media scene, real connections to New England sports circles, and a legitimate history of working closely with media outlets connected to the Patriots organization. That part matters. This is not some random social media account throwing darts for attention. There is a reason people immediately reacted when he spoke about this possibility. At the same time, Seahawks fans also understand why there is hesitation. Minihane has built a reputation over the years for stirring reactions, creating chaos, and sometimes leaning into controversy just to get conversations exploding online. He enjoys poking people. He enjoys generating reactions. And because of that, fans are stuck trying to figure out whether this is a legitimate leak or another example of someone using speculation to dominate the sports cycle for a few hours. What makes this even more fascinating is that the Seahawks genuinely feel like a prime candidate to open the season in a nationally televised game. The NFL clearly views Seattle as a major draw again. There is momentum around the franchise. There is intrigue around the roster. There is massive curiosity surrounding the direction of the organization. And from the league's perspective, putting Seattle in the spotlight immediately would make complete sense. The Patriots angle is especially interesting because the NFL loves historical brands, even when those teams are rebuilding. New England still carries national attention simply because of its legacy. Pair that with Seattle's passionate fan base, and the possibility of a major primetime showcase suddenly becomes very believable. The NFL always thinks about television ratings first, and Seahawks versus Patriots absolutely sounds like the kind of game the league office would consider for opening week. Still, there are reasons to remain cautious. This is not coming from someone like Adam Schefter. It is not an official NFL leak from a major national insider. And because of that, Seahawks fans are left in this weird middle ground where the rumor feels possible, but not concrete enough to fully trust yet. What makes the entire situation even more dramatic is that while fans are debating Week 1 opponents, another conversation exploded that could have a far bigger impact on the future of the Seahawks organization than any single football game ever could. ESPN's Seth Wickersham dropped a report suggesting that a future Seahawks ownership group may eventually push for an entirely new stadium. That immediately sent shockwaves through Seattle fans because Lumen Field is not viewed as an outdated stadium by most people. In fact, many fans still consider it one of the best environments in the entire NFL. It remains one of the loudest stadiums in sports. Opposing players constantly talk about how difficult it is to play there. The atmosphere has become part of Seahawks' identity itself. But the business side of the NFL is changing rapidly. And that is where this story becomes impossible to ignore. Wickersham pointed out that stadiums built during the early 2000s are now reaching the age where ownership groups begin evaluating long-term replacement possibilities. Lumen Field opened in 2002, and while that does not feel ancient to most fans, the NFL's financial machine views stadium timelines very differently than supporters do. The conversation is not necessarily about whether Lumen Field is bad. It is more about whether a new owner could potentially make even more money with a modernized venue designed around newer revenue strategies. That is the part Seahawks fans are beginning to understand, even if they do not like it. The NFL today is obsessed with maximizing every possible revenue stream. Owners are no longer satisfied with simply selling tickets and luxury suites. They want expanded entertainment districts, premium seating experiences, larger VIP sections, more sponsorship opportunities, upgraded concessions, and every financial advantage imaginable. Right now, Lumen Field seats over 68,000 fans and includes 127 suites, along with dozens of concession and beer stands. Those numbers were impressive when the stadium opened, but compared to the newest generation of NFL stadiums, ownership groups may start viewing those numbers as opportunities being left on the table financially. That is why the Denver Broncos situation matters here. Denver's stadium was built around the same time as Seattle's, yet conversations about a replacement stadium are already advancing there. And league executives notice trends like that. Once one franchise starts exploring billion-dollar upgrades, others begin evaluating whether they should follow. For Seahawks fans, this creates an emotional conflict. On one side, there is enormous pride in Lumen Field and everything it represents. The stadium helped define one of the greatest eras in franchise history. The noise, the atmosphere, the memories, the playoff games, the Legion of Boom years, all of that is tied to that building. On the other side, there is the reality that future ownership may not view the stadium emotionally. They may view it purely through a financial lens. If a new venue can generate more long-term revenue, increase franchise value, and create bigger profits, then discussions about replacing Lumen Field become very real regardless of fan attachment. And then there is the Super Bowl factor, which adds another layer to this entire debate. One of the biggest reasons Seattle has never hosted a Super Bowl is the weather. The NFL heavily prefers warm weather locations or domed stadiums for its biggest event. Wickersham suggested that if Seattle ever wanted to seriously enter the Super Bowl hosting conversation, a covered stadium might become part of the discussion. That idea alone is enough to divide the fan base instantly. Some fans would love the possibility of Seattle hosting a Super Bowl. Others believe putting a roof on a Seahawks stadium would completely destroy part of the team's identity. The rain, the cold, the outdoor atmosphere. Many fans believe those elements are part of what makes Seahawks football feel different. There is also skepticism about whether the NFL would even reward Seattle with a Super Bowl after building a dome anyway. The league continues prioritizing warm weather entertainment cities like Las Vegas, Miami, and Los Angeles because they offer easier logistics for the massive corporate spectacle surrounding the event. So now Seahawks fans are watching two massive storylines unfold simultaneously. One suggests Seattle could open the season in one of the NFL's biggest spotlight games. The other hints that the organization itself could eventually undergo a transformation far bigger than anyone expected. And what makes all of this so fascinating is that both stories point toward the same thing. The Seahawks are becoming one of the NFL's most important franchises to watch over the next several years. The schedule rumors, the ownership questions, the stadium discussions, the future financial direction of the franchise. It all feels like Seattle is entering a completely new era, whether fans are ready for it or not. And the biggest question now is whether Seahawks fans would actually support the idea of a new stadium if ownership claimed it would push the franchise into a bigger future, or if protecting the legacy and atmosphere of Lumen Field matters more than chasing modern NFL trends. What do you think about all of this? And now the biggest question is headed straight to Seahawks fans. If this organization really is moving toward a brand new era, are you excited about the possibility of massive changes? Or do you believe Seattle should protect what already makes this franchise special? Drop your thoughts down in the comments because I genuinely want to hear where the 12 stand on this situation. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss any breaking Seahawks news, rumors, or updates the moment they happen. This off-season is only getting crazier from here. And trust me, you're going to want to stay locked in because the biggest Seahawks stories are still ahead. And when you finish this video, click the next one that's already on your screen right now because the latest Seahawks developments are coming fast, and you'll find all the updates first right here on the channel.